Don't chase anything. What you need will come. Ah, sit down, my child. Let me tell you a story. Not from books, but from the silence, between breaths, from the tears left unshed by those who chased too far, too fast. There was once a man named Ethan, born in a forgotten village nestled between quiet hills and whispering bamboo groves. His house was small, his roof leaky, but his heart was full, at least at first. He had a loving wife, Sarah, who cooked by the fire while humming old lullabies, and a daughter, Lily, who would giggle whenever the wind blew through her tiny feet. But Ethan dreamed of more. He was not content with the sound of crickets at dusk or the scent of wood smoke on his shirt. He wanted to rise, above the hills, above the poverty, above the life he deemed too small for his spirit. He wanted success, money, recognition, everything he had seen on the glowing screens of city travelers who passed through once a year, dropping coins as they looked the other way. And so, one evening, as the sun sank behind the mountains and cast long shadows across his home, Ethan made a choice. He kissed his sleeping daughter on the forehead, whispered goodbye to his wife, and left. He believed he was chasing destiny, but he was only running away from grace. In the city, the world was loud. It never slept. The lights drowned the stars, and the people spoke in currencies, not kindness. Ethan worked like a machine, delivering food by day, washing dishes by night, fixing engines by dawn. He smiled through exhaustion, thinking, just a little more, I'm close. But the closer he ran, the farther peace slipped from his grasp. He borrowed money to invest in promises, schemes that glittered like gold but crumbled like dust. He stopped writing home. The shame was too heavy. What can I say? He thought. That I traded my daughter's laughter for a boss's insults? That I missed her birthdays to chase someone else's dream? And so, the years passed. Then one day, he received a letter. A neighbor had written it. Lily, his daughter, had fallen ill, very ill. His wife had begged him to come home, even if just for a moment. But the letter had been written 2 months ago. He dropped everything and rushed back. The train screeched through valleys, past rivers, past time. But when he arrived, the house was quiet, too quiet. His mother's chair was empty, covered in dust. A photograph lay on the table. Lily, her smile faint, her eyes tired. Beside it, a white ribbon, funeral white. Sarah was gone too. No one knew where she went. Maybe she couldn't stay in a house where grief lived in every wall. And Ethan? Ethan collapsed. Not from exhaustion, but from the weight of regret. He screamed at the sky, I just wanted to give them a better life. But the wind replied with silence. For many nights, he wandered like a shadow. He no longer chased dreams, only memories. He sat by the riverside where Lily once dipped her feet. He stared at the hill where he had first held Sarah's hand. Everything that mattered had been here all along, and he had left it behind. Now tell me, child, was Ethan wrong to want more, or was he wrong to believe more lived somewhere else? In the teachings of the Buddha, we learn, desire, when uncontrolled, becomes a fire. It consumes not just what is, but what could have been. Ethan didn't lose his family in a day. He lost them each time he chose ambition over presence, expectation over gratitude. But this story isn't over yet. No, not yet, because the universe is patient. Even in our deepest suffering, a lesson waits, like a lantern in the fog. But first, we must stop running. Sit still, let the pain speak. Ethan did not return to the city. Not ever. He stayed in the village, wandering between old trails, lost in thought. And one day, he stumbled upon a path he had never noticed before. It led to a monastery, tucked away behind a forest of silence. But that, my dear, is for another part of the tale. Now, before I go, let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted something so badly you forgot what you already had? And if life gave you everything you chased, but took away what truly mattered, would you still say it was worth it? Ah, you've returned, child. That's good, because the story continues, not with triumph, but with stillness. And sometimes stillness holds more power than 1,000 victories. After wandering the village with hollow eyes and a heart carved by guilt, Ethan no longer sought anything, not riches, not redemption. His legs moved, but his soul knelt in silent prayer, hoping that somehow the universe would forgive him. Then, one morning, drawn by the scent of burning sandalwood and the faint echo of bells, he found himself standing at the gate of an old monastery, one that seemed to appear only to those too weary to look anymore. Inside, time had stopped. The monks wore faded robes and smiled with eyes that had seen many lifetimes. And among them was an old woman, wrinkled, slow, but with a warmth that wrapped around you like a grandmother's quilt. She sat outside the temple every day, selling simple rice porridge for just 5 rupees. People called her Amma. Ethan approached her one day, hungry in more ways than one. He asked, "Why do you sit here every day, selling porridge to strangers who barely say thank you?" She stirred the pot gently, never looking up. "I was once like you. I chased gold, lost people, and found myself with nothing, except a choice, to keep running or to stay still long enough to notice the pain I had caused." She placed a bowl in front of him. "This is all I have left to offer the world, and strangely, it brings me peace." Ethan ate in silence. It was the first warm meal he'd had in days, but it wasn't the food that nourished him. It was the simplicity, the surrender, the kindness with no price tag. He asked the head monk if he could stay, not as a monk, but as a servant, to sweep the floors, fetch water, clean the lanterns. He didn't want teachings. He just wanted to be useful. And the monk, smiling, said, "That is the first teaching." So began Ethan's new life. No longer chasing, he began receiving, not coins, but blessings, smiles from children, silence between birdsong, rain on bare skin, a peace not earned, but allowed. You see, child, karma is not punishment, it's reflection. When Ethan was chasing, the world became a maze of illusions, but now that he had stopped, the path became clear. He saw things as they were, not as he feared or desired them to be. 5 years passed, quietly, and then, one evening, like a thread pulled gently from a loose cloth, the past returned. Destiny, you see, is never cruel. It's just precise. It was nearing twilight when a woman arrived at the monastery, her clothes dusty from travel, her eyes heavy with sorrow. Beside her, a little girl, pale, frail, clutching her chest every few steps. Ethan watched from afar, not recognizing them at first, but as the woman approached the porridge stall, her face emerged from the shadows. It was Sarah, and the child was Lily. Not the Lily he remembered. This Lily had grown, but not well. Her heart was weak. Her breath came in shallow gasps. And Sarah, her once gentle face, now bore lines of grief and endurance. They had heard of the monastery, of the monks who helped the poor, of the old woman with the porridge that healed more than hunger. And Ethan, he stood frozen. He wanted to run, to hide from the shame. But Amma, the old woman, simply said, "If the wind brings back what the river took, it means the lesson is ready." That night, Ethan sat beside Lily's bed. She was too tired to remember him fully, but when he placed his hand in hers, she did not let go. The next day, he used all the money he had saved, not for escape, but for life. He paid for her treatment, begged the local doctors, offered his labor in exchange. And miracles, it seemed, still listened to those who no longer demanded. Weeks later, Lily laughed again. Not much, but enough. Sarah stayed, not because of love reborn, but because of forgiveness rediscovered. And Ethan? He no longer ran. He planted herbs behind the temple, taught children how to sweep in silence, sat by the river, and spoke not to the sky, but to himself, gently. "Child, this world teaches us to chase, but the Dharma teaches us to return to simplicity, to return to presence, to return to the breath, the one we overlooked while searching for gold." Ethan did not become rich, but he became whole. And when he died, many years later, under the same bamboo grove where he once played as a child, he was not alone. Sarah held his hand. Lily wept beside him. The monks chanted softly, and the old woman, she simply nodded, as if saying, "You finally understood." Now you, listening to this tale, if you had to choose between chasing success or returning to peace, what would you pick? If life offered you everything you wanted, but at the cost of losing someone you love, would you accept it? And if peace knocked on your door tomorrow, would you recognize it? Or would you be too busy chasing what you thought you needed?